Emma walked quickly down the street, her eyes burning with tears she refused to let fall. The evening was cold, and the city lights blurred around her as she tried to calm her racing heart. Just minutes ago, inside that cafe, she had seen something that broke her completely, her ex-boyfriend sitting with another woman, laughing, leaning close, whispering as if Emma had never existed. She had gone there to meet a friend, but instead she found betrayal staring her straight in the face. Her chest felt tight, her stomach twisted with anger and hurt. How could he move on so easily? She thought. Did I mean nothing at all? The crowd outside the cafe was buzzing with laughter and conversations. But Emma could only hear the loud thumping of her own heartbeat. She wanted to scream, to break something, to make him feel the same pain she was feeling. And then it happened. Her eyes caught him, the tall man standing by the corner, waiting silently as if he didn't belong to the chaos of the street. He wore a dark coat, his posture calm, almost commanding. His face was partly hidden in the shadows, but she saw the sharp lines of his jaw and the stillness in his eyes. Her ex walked out of the cafe, arm in arm with that new girl, smirking proudly as if he wanted Emma to see. Something inside her snapped. The humiliation, the heartbreak, the anger, it all pushed her to do something she never imagined she could. Before her mind could stop her, her feet carried her straight to the stranger. And without a word, without a thought, Emma grabbed his collar and kissed him. The world around her froze. The sound of conversations stopped. Gasps filled the air. Her ex halted, shocked, his smug smile vanishing as he watched Emma press her lips against a man she had never met. Emma's hands trembled as she clung to the stranger, her heart racing so fast she thought it would burst. She didn't even know why she was doing it, maybe to hurt her ex, maybe to prove she wasn't broken, maybe to feel strong again just for one moment. The stranger didn't resist. He didn't push her away. He stood perfectly still, letting her lips touch his eyes half closed as if he was studying her more than kissing her. When Emma finally pulled back, breathless and horrified at her own boldness, she looked up into his eyes for the first time. They were deep, sharp, and unreadable. Not angry, not shocked, but calm, as if he had expected something like this. Her ex's face was red with disbelief and fury. "Emma," he shouted. "What the hell are you doing?" Emma's voice cracked as she spoke, her cheeks burning. I don't need you. Do you hear me? I don't need you anymore." The stranger tilted his head slightly, watching her with quiet intensity. He still hadn't spoken a single word, but his silence was louder than anything. The crowd murmured, people whispering about the scene they had just witnessed. Some laughed, some shook their heads, others looked impressed by Emma's sudden boldness. But Emma's stomach was twisting in panic now. What had she done? Her ex cursed under his breath and stormed off, dragging the other girl with him. Emma's chest heaved as relief mixed with shame. She turned quickly to the stranger, her eyes wide. I'm sorry," she stammered. "I don't know what I was thinking. I shouldn't have." The man finally spoke, his voice deep and steady. "You don't even know me." Emma froze. His words weren't angry, but they carried a strange weight, almost like a warning. She swallowed hard. "I know. I'm sorry. I needed to do something. I didn't mean to drag you into this." The man's lips curved into the faintest smile, not mocking, but mysterious. "Interesting," he murmured, more to himself than to her. Emma didn't know what else to say. Her heart was still racing, her hands shaking from the madness of what she had done. Without another word, she turned and ran down the street, the sound of her footsteps echoing in the night. She didn't look back. She didn't dare. But if she had, she would have seen the stranger watching her go, his eyes following her with a quiet intensity, as if she had awakened something he had kept hidden for a long time. Emma reached her small apartment later that night, slamming the door shut and sliding down to the floor. Her face was buried in her hands, her body trembling. "What did I do?" she whispered to herself again and again. It was supposed to be just a desperate moment, a reckless act to protect her pride. She believed she would never see him again. He was just a stranger, after all. But deep in her heart, a strange unease lingered. His eyes, his silence, the way he looked at her, it felt like more than a random encounter. And she had no idea that the kiss she thought was meaningless would soon reveal a truth that would change her life forever. Emma woke up the next morning with a pounding headache. Her bold act from last night replayed in her mind like a nightmare she couldn't escape. The kiss, the stranger's eyes, the shocked faces, it all came rushing back. She groaned and buried her face in her pillow. "What was I thinking?" she whispered. For the rest of the day, she tried to keep busy. She cleaned, she cooked something small, she even tried reading a book. But no matter what she did, the memory of that stranger wouldn't leave her alone. His calm expression, his quiet voice, his mysterious smile, it all haunted her. "He'll forget about it," she finally told herself. "He was just a stranger. I'll never see him again." But fate had other plans. A few days later, Emma's best friend, Lily, invited her to a big office party. Lily worked as an assistant in one of the city's biggest companies, and she wanted Emma to come along. "You've been stuck at home too much," Lily said firmly. "You need a distraction. This party will cheer you up." Emma resisted at first. "I don't know, Lily. I'm not in the mood for people." But Lily wouldn't take no for an answer. "That's exactly why you should come. Wear something nice, and let's just have fun." Finally, Emma gave in. She pulled out her best dress, a simple black one that had been sitting in her closet for months. She tied her hair neatly, added a touch of makeup, and told herself this night would be different. She would not think about her ex. She would not think about the kiss. The party was held in a luxurious hotel ballroom, filled with bright lights, elegant music, and people in expensive clothes. Emma felt small and out of place, but Lily stayed by her side, chatting and introducing her to a few co-workers. Emma smiled politely, but her mind kept wandering. She felt uneasy, as if something was about to happen. And then it did. The room grew louder with whispers as the main doors opened. People turned, their expressions shifting to respect and admiration. Emma followed their gaze, and her heart nearly stopped. It was him. The stranger. The man she had kissed that night. He walked in with calm confidence, wearing a perfectly tailored suit. His presence commanded the room instantly. The whispers around her grew louder. "That's Adrian Blackwood. The CEO himself. He rarely attends these parties." Emma's stomach twisted. Her lips went dry. "CEO?" She thought in shock. His the head of the company. Her heart raced as he moved gracefully through the crowd, shaking hands, offering polite smiles. People surrounded him, eager to impress. Yet his eyes, sharp and searching, moved slowly across the room, until they landed on her. Emma froze. Their gazes locked. Time seemed to stop. His expression didn't change, but there was something in his eyes that made her legs weak. Recognition. Amusement. Something deeper she couldn't name. Emma quickly looked away, her cheeks burning. She grabbed Lily's arm. "Lily, who exactly is he?" Lily's eyes widened. "Don't tell me you don't know him. That's Adrian Blackwood, the billionaire CEO. He owns this entire company. He's one of the most powerful men in the city." Emma's mind spun. A billionaire. A CEO. The man she had kissed in the street to spite her ex was no ordinary stranger. She wanted to run, to disappear before he could reach her. But it was too late. Adrian excused himself from the crowd and walked toward her, his steady steps making her heart pound harder with every second. The room seemed to hush as he approached. "Emma," he said softly when he reached her. Her eyes widened. "Why you know my name?" He smiled faintly, his gaze never leaving hers. "Of course I do." Lily looked between them in confusion. "Wait, you two know each other?" Emma stammered, her voice trembling. "No, not really. It's complicated." Adrian's smile deepened just a little, almost teasing. "Complicated is one word for it." Emma's cheeks burned. She wanted to melt into the floor. She wished Lily would stop staring at her with wide, shocked eyes. Before Emma could say more, Adrian leaned closer, his voice low so only she could hear. "I didn't expect to see you again. But maybe it wasn't an accident after all." Emma's breath caught in her throat. What did he mean by that? He pulled back and straightened, his expression unreadable again. "Enjoy the party, Miss Emma," he said with calm authority. Then he turned and moved back into the crowd, leaving her trembling in place. Lily grabbed her arm. What on earth was that? Do you know Adrian Blackwood? Emma shook her head quickly. No, I don't. I thought I didn't. Her voice trailed off, panic filling her chest. That night, Emma couldn't focus on anything else. His presence, his words, the way he looked at her, it all felt too strange, too intentional. She had kissed a stranger. But that stranger wasn't just anyone. He was a man with power, wealth, and mystery. And deep down, Emma knew this was only the beginning. Emma could barely sleep that night after the party. The image of Adrian's calm smile and the way he said her name kept repeating in her mind. How did he know her name? Why did he look at her as if he had known her for years? She tossed and turned, telling herself it didn't matter. He was a billionaire, a man who lived in a completely different world. Whatever happened that night on the street was just a mistake, a reckless moment she wanted to forget. But forgetting was not so easy. The next morning, Emma tried to return to her normal routine. She went out for groceries, keeping her head down, hoping no one had noticed the scene at the party. Yet, as she left the store, she froze. A sleek black car was parked across the street. Its windows were tinted, but she had the strange feeling someone was watching her. Her heart raced. She walked faster, clutching her bag, but the car didn't move. That evening, as she stepped into her small apartment, she found a single envelope on her doorstep. There was no name, no stamp, just her address written in bold handwriting. With trembling fingers, she opened it. Inside was a simple card, dinner tomorrow night. 8 p.m. The Royal Crescent Hotel. Adrian. Emma's stomach flipped. How did he know where she lived? Why was he inviting her? She thought of ignoring it, of tearing the card into pieces. But deep down, curiosity gnawed at her. Why her? Out of everyone in the city, why was Adrian Blackwood interested in her? The next evening, she stood outside the hotel, her palms sweaty. She told herself she wouldn't stay long, that she just wanted answers. Inside, the restaurant glowed with golden lights, filled with the soft murmur of wealthy guests. Adrian was already waiting at a table near the window, perfectly composed in his dark suit. When he saw her, his lips curved slightly, as if he had expected her hesitation but knew she would come anyway. "Emma," he greeted smoothly, standing to pull out her chair. She sat down, still nervous, her voice low. "Why did you invite me here?" Adrian leaned back, his eyes fixed on her. "Because I wanted to see you again." Emma frowned. "But why? I'm not like the people in your world." His smile deepened, calm and mysterious. "That's exactly why." Her cheeks warmed under his gaze. "You don't even know me." "I know more than you think," he replied softly, his voice carrying a weight she couldn't understand. Dinner passed slowly, filled with small talk that made Emma even more confused. Adrian asked about her life, her dreams, her struggles. He listened intently, never mocking, never interrupting. It was strange, no one had ever cared to ask her such questions, not even her ex. But Adrian gave nothing away about himself. Whenever she tried to ask about his life, he answered with only a few words, always turning the focus back to her. By the time the evening ended, Emma was more unsettled than before. He walked her out, his hand brushing lightly against hers as they stood by the hotel steps. "You're different, Emma," he said quietly. "You don't hide who you are. That night, when you kissed me, you showed me more courage than most people I've met." Her breath caught. Courage? It wasn't courage, it was madness. "Maybe," he said with a faint smile. "But sometimes madness reveals the truth." Before she could respond, his driver opened the car door for him. Adrian gave her one last unreadable look before disappearing into the night. Emma stood there, shaken. She had wanted answers, but all he had given her were more questions. Days passed, but Adrian didn't fade from her life. She began noticing him in unexpected places, outside the bookstore where she shopped, near the park where she walked. Sometimes he spoke to her briefly, sometimes he only nodded and left. But his presence became a shadow she couldn't escape. Her friends noticed too. Lily whispered one afternoon, "Emma, be careful." A man like him doesn't pay attention to someone without a reason. What if he's playing with you? Emma wanted to deny it, but fear lingered in her chest. Was Adrian protecting her? Testing her? Or was she just another amusement for a powerful man with secrets? One evening, as she returned home, she found him waiting at her doorstep. "Adrian," she gasped, startled. "What are you doing here?" He looked at her calmly, his hands in his pockets. "Making sure you're safe." "Safe? From what?" she asked, confused. He didn't answer immediately. His eyes softened, but his voice was firm. "Emma, there are things about me, things you don't know yet. But what I can tell you is this, you're part of something now. Something bigger than you realize." Her stomach tightened. "I don't understand." "You will," he said quietly. Then, with a faint smile that made her both nervous and curious, he turned and walked away into the night. Emma stood frozen on the steps, her heart pounding. What did he mean? What was she part of now? For the first time, she realized the truth. This was no simple attraction. Adrian Blackwood was hiding something. And whether she liked it or not, she was now tangled in his secret world. Emma couldn't get Adrian's words out of her head. "You're part of something now." What did that mean? Why did he speak as if she had stepped into a story much larger than herself? At first, she tried to ignore it. She told herself not to get involved, not to think about him. But the more she tried, the more questions filled her mind. Why did he know her name? Why did he appear everywhere she went? And most of all, what did he mean by safe? One afternoon, Emma decided she couldn't take the uncertainty anymore. She needed answers. She followed Adrian. He had left his office building in a black car, but instead of heading to a luxurious restaurant or hotel, the car drove to the quieter side of the city. Emma kept her distance, her heart racing as she trailed him. Finally, the car stopped near an old warehouse. Adrian stepped out, his tall figure blending with the shadows. He moved with a purpose, serious and focused, as if he was there for something secret. Emma crouched behind a wall, her breath shallow. She watched him enter the warehouse, meeting two men in suits. Their conversation was low, but bits of words carried through the air. Evidence, dangerous, they can't find out. Emma's skin prickled. Evidence. Dangerous. Who was Adrian meeting with? She leaned forward, trying to hear more, but her foot slipped on loose gravel. The sound echoed sharply. The men inside turned. Adrian's sharp eyes locked on her immediately. Emma's heart stopped. She tried to retreat, but Adrian was already striding toward her, his steps fast and controlled. "Emma," his voice was low but firm. "What are you doing here?" She stammered, her face pale. I was just." "You were following me," he said, his tone leaving no room for denial. Emma's hands trembled. "Because you won't tell me the truth. You keep appearing, you keep saying strange things, and I deserve to know why." For a moment, silence hung heavy between them. Then Adrian sighed, his expression softer but still guarded. He gestured for her to follow him inside the warehouse. The two suited men looked uneasy when Emma entered, but Adrian gave them a nod, and they quietly left. Now, alone in the dim light of the warehouse, Adrian finally spoke. "There are things about me that most people don't know," he said. "Things I've kept hidden, because the wrong people would use them to destroy me." Emma's eyes widened. "Then why bring me here? Why tell me?" Adrian looked at her with quiet intensity. "Because whether you realize it or not, you're already involved. The moment you kissed me that night, everything changed." Emma's breath caught. That was just an accident. A mistake. His lips curved slightly. "Maybe for you. But not for me." She frowned, confused. "What are you talking about?" Adrian walked closer, his voice steady but emotional. "I was there that night for a reason. I wasn't just standing in the shadows by chance. I was watching someone, your ex." Emma froze. "My ex?" Adrian nodded. "Yes. He's connected to people who want to destroy me. I was following him, gathering proof of his dealings. And then, out of nowhere, you appeared. You kissed me, right in front of him. Do you realize what that did?" Her mind spun. I don't understand. Adrian's eyes darkened. It marked me. It tied you to me in their eyes. They believe you're close to me now. Which means you're in danger too. Emma staggered back, her chest tightening. Danger? Because of one kiss? Adrian nodded firmly. They don't see it as one kiss. They see it as a sign you're mine. And they'll use that to get to me. Emma shook her head, panic rising. No, no, I didn't ask for this. I never wanted this. I know, Adrian said gently. But this is reality now. And it's my fault for letting you walk away that night without warning you. Tears welled in Emma's eyes. She felt her world spinning, turning upside down in ways she couldn't control. A kiss meant to hurt her ex had thrown her into a dangerous game she didn't even know existed. She whispered, her voice trembling, "So, what do we do now?" Adrian's gaze softened, but his words were heavy. "Now, you stay close to me. It's the only way I can protect you." Emma's breath shook. Protect me? From who? He hesitated before answering. From people who won't stop until they destroy everything I've built. And now, they see you as part of me. Silence filled the warehouse, broken only by the sound of Emma's rapid breathing. She looked at Adrian, his tall frame steady in the dim light, his eyes both fierce and vulnerable. He was no longer just a stranger, no longer just a mysterious man. He was someone fighting battles she couldn't yet understand, and somehow, she had been pulled into the middle of it. And deep inside her, a terrifying realization struck. Her kiss hadn't just revealed his identity, it had changed her own destiny. Emma could not believe what she had just heard. A kiss meant to annoy her ex had suddenly dragged her into a world of danger and secrets. Her ex, Adrian's enemies, threats she didn't even know existed, it all sounded impossible, yet Adrian's eyes told her it was real. For the next few days, Emma lived in constant fear. Every sound outside her apartment made her jump, every shadow seemed dangerous. She began to notice things she had never noticed before, a man watching her from across the street, a car following slowly when she walked home. Maybe it was her imagination, but deep down, she knew Adrian had been right. One evening, Adrian appeared at her door again. He looked calm, but his sharp eyes scanned the street before he stepped inside. "You can't stay here anymore," he said firmly. Emma's heart pounded. "Why? What happened?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "They know where you live. I had some of my men watching, and they caught someone trying to break into your building last night." Emma gasped, covering her mouth. "Break in? For me?" Adrian nodded. "Not for your things, for you." Fear shot through her veins. "I can't do this. I can't live like this." Adrian's voice softened. "You won't have to. You'll stay somewhere safe. With me." Emma hesitated. The idea of living under the same roof as Adrian made her nervous. He was mysterious, powerful, unpredictable. But the idea of being hunted by faceless enemies was far worse. Slowly, she nodded. That night, Adrian brought her to his private estate on the edge of the city. The mansion was huge, with tall gates, security cameras, and guards at every corner. It felt less like a home and more like a fortress. Inside, everything gleamed, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, soft golden lights. Emma felt completely out of place, her simple clothes and quiet steps swallowed by the wealth around her. But Adrian treated her gently. He showed her to a guest room, larger than her entire apartment. He made sure she had food, warm clothes, and comfort. Yet even in such luxury, Emma couldn't relax. She felt like a bird in a gilded cage, trapped by circumstances she didn't choose. Over the next days, she watched Adrian closely. He worked late into the night, speaking on the phone in low voices, meeting with men who carried files and laptops. Sometimes his expression was hard, cold, like a man carrying a heavy burden. But whenever he looked at her, his eyes softened, almost protective. One evening, Emma gathered her courage. She found him in his study, papers spread across the desk. "Adrian," she said quietly, "I need to know. What exactly is going on? What are they after? Why am I part of this?" Adrian leaned back, his fingers steepled. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then finally, he spoke. They want control, he said slowly. Control of companies, power, money. Your ex was helping them, he was one of their smaller players. And now, because of that kiss, they think you're connected to me. Which means they think you might know something. And if they can't get to me, they'll use you instead. Emma's blood ran cold. But I don't know anything. I don't even understand your world. Adrian's eyes softened. That doesn't matter to them. In their eyes, you're important. And that makes you a target. Her hands shook. She whispered, so what happens now? Adrian stood, his tall figure casting a shadow across the room. Now, I make sure they can't touch you. But Emma, you have to trust me. Even when things get worse. She swallowed hard. Worse. His silence was answer enough. The following night, Emma got her first glimpse of what worse meant. The mansion's alarms went off suddenly, sharp and loud. Guards rushed outside, voices shouting. Adrian stormed into her room, his face tense. Stay here, he ordered. Emma's heart raced. What's happening? He gave her one last look, then disappeared down the hall. Through the window, Emma saw flashes of movement, dark figures trying to break through the gates. The guards fought them back, lights flaring, chaos echoing in the night. Emma pressed her hands against her chest, shaking. She realized this wasn't just a game. These people weren't just shadows. They were real, and they were dangerous. Hours later, Adrian returned, his shirt slightly torn, his face pale but calm. He closed the door and sat on the edge of her bed. They were testing us, he said softly, trying to see how close they could get. Emma's eyes filled with tears. And next time? Adrian looked at her, his voice steady. Next time, they'll try harder. And that's why I can't let you out of my sight. She stared at him, torn between fear and something else she couldn't explain. He wasn't just a stranger anymore. He wasn't just the man she had kissed by mistake. He was her shield now, the only thing standing between her and the darkness chasing her. But deep inside, Emma wondered, was Adrian protecting her only because of the danger, or because she meant something more to him? And even scarier, was she starting to feel the same way about him? Emma lay awake in the grand guest room, staring at the ceiling. The mansion was quiet, but her mind was loud. Every moment with Adrian pulled her deeper into a world she had never asked for. He was powerful, mysterious, and dangerous, and now, because of one reckless kiss, her life would never be the same. She thought about leaving. Sometimes, when she stood by the window, she imagined walking away, disappearing into another city, starting over where no one knew her. But then she would remember Adrian's words, if they can't reach me, they'll use you. Running wouldn't save her. Running would only make her an easier target. And yet, another thought haunted her even more. Why was she still here? Was it only because of danger? Or was it because, against all reason, her heart had started to care for him? The next morning, Adrian found her in the garden. The air was cool, and the sky painted soft shades of gold. He walked toward her, his expression calm but serious. We can't wait any longer, he said quietly. They're closing in. We have to make a choice. Emma's breath caught. What kind of choice? Adrian stopped in front of her, his dark eyes fixed on hers. You can step away now. I can send you far from here, give you a new name, a new life. It won't be safe, but it will be away from me. Or, his voice grew softer. Or you can stay by my side. If you stay, I can protect you. But it also means becoming part of my world, and once you step into it fully, there's no going back. Emma's heart pounded. Adrian, I don't belong in your world. He gave a faint smile, sad and gentle. Maybe not. But the night you kissed me, you became part of it whether you wanted to or not. Tears stung her eyes. She looked down at her hands, trembling slightly. Every part of her screamed for the simple life she once had. But deep down, she knew that life was already gone. Why me? She whispered. Out of all the people in your life, why do you care so much about me? For the first time, Adrian's calm mask broke. His voice was low, raw. Because you saw me as a man, not a billionaire. Because that kiss wasn't about money, or power, or my name. It was real. You may not believe it, Emma, but you gave me something no one else has, truth. Her breath shook. She wanted to deny it, to argue, but her heart betrayed her. She had felt it too, in the way his eyes softened around her, in the way he protected her without asking for anything in return. Before she could speak, the sound of gunfire shattered the calm morning. Adrian immediately pulled her close, shielding her as guards rushed across the lawn. Dark figures were climbing the gates again, only this time, they weren't testing. They were attacking with full force. "Stay with me," Adrian shouted, pulling her toward the mansion. Emma's heart pounded as chaos erupted around them. Guards fired back, alarms wailed, the sound of shouting filled the air. She stumbled, nearly falling, but Adrian's grip was strong, unyielding. Inside the mansion, Adrian led her to a hidden passage behind his study. The narrow hallway was dim, lined with steel walls. "This way," he urged. Emma's voice trembled. "Adrian, what if they break through? What if they find us?" Adrian stopped, turning to face her. His eyes burned with determination. "If they do, I'll fight until my last breath. But Emma, you have to decide now. Do you trust me enough to face this with me? Or do you want me to send you away while I still can?" Her chest tightened. The choice was heavy, terrifying. Walk away and live a life running from shadows, or stay and face the storm with him. She looked at him, this man who had been a stranger, who had turned her world upside down, who had risked everything to protect her. Her heart gave her the answer before her mind could. "I'm not leaving you," she said firmly, her voice steady despite the fear in her veins. "If I'm in this, I'm in it with you." Adrian's eyes softened with something almost like relief. For the first time, a real smile touched his lips. "Then whatever happens, we face it together." Gunfire echoed closer, footsteps pounding in the halls. Adrian pulled her close, whispering in her ear, "Stay behind me. Don't be afraid." Emma gripped his arm, her fear replaced with courage she never knew she had. For the first time, she wasn't just a frightened woman caught in someone else's story. She was making her own choice, her boldest one yet. As the doors burst open and the enemies stormed in, Emma stood with Adrian, ready to face whatever came next. Because in that moment, she realized the truth. The kiss that started as a mistake had become her destiny.